Hello, welcome to Get Ready for Kindergarten. My name is Miss Elizabeth, and I am the Early Education Library Associate at the Centerville branch of the Gwinnett County Public Library. Before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that whether your child is starting kindergarten in August or still has a year or two left, there is no need to worry. I'm sure you've done a great job, and this program is just to help reinforce what you have already done and guide what you do in the remaining time you have before your child enters kindergarten. I also want to point out that what I'm about to talk about is certainly not an all-inclusive list of things that are helpful to know going into kindergarten, but are some of the main things that I think are important foundational skills. At the end of the presentation, I have shared the resources I used to help put this together, so feel free to use those if you would like more information. Something else I want you to know is that if your child has not yet mastered some of these skills, that's okay too. Kindergarten teachers are amazing and are prepared to take in students of varying levels. However, reinforcing their education at home is important to their success in school, so just trying to incorporate some of these tips at home will be helpful to your child's development. Let's get started. We're going to begin with what I think are some of the most important skills a child can know going into kindergarten. These are the social and self-management skills. The first of these is being able to handle their bathroom needs on their own. It is expected that a child entering kindergarten is fully potty trained, as there is typically one teacher to an average of 15 students. The teacher cannot be expected to remind your child to go to the bathroom or to change pull-ups or diapers. An occasional accident may happen, but making sure your child is comfortable going to the bathroom on their own is one of the most important skills they need to master before entering kindergarten. Memorization is also an important skill for your child to have. When your child enters school, they will be assigned a school number that they will have to memorize. They will use this number regularly, including for their library card. When children under 18 get a library card, there are no overdue fees for that account. If your child goes to a Gwinnett County school, ask them how to sign up for a branch out account. Instead of a traditional library card number, we like to use their school number, which they will have memorized, or at least will be working on memorizing. You can help your child with memorization by helping them learn their letters and numbers and playing memory games. There are lots of apps and games to choose from. The next skill that is really helpful is to be able to follow multiple step directions. For example, a teacher may say, "Please clean up your area, put your work in your folder, and then line up for lunch." These multiple step directions will be common in school, and the best way to help your child prepare for this is to issue them as well, and then follow through to make sure they did each part. For example, you may tell your child, "Change into your pajamas, brush your teeth, and then pick a story to read before bed." The last skill here is to be able to focus on an activity for at least 10 minutes. Being able to focus on and complete work in kindergarten is expected, and if your child has not developed a longer attention span, it will be very difficult for them to do what they are expected to do. Again, a great way to do this is to enforce it at home. Have structured coloring or activity time for a certain amount of time, and if you need to, you can build up to 10 or more minutes. Start at wherever your child is comfortable and add a minute a week to the activity time. An important area of skills is feeding. When entering kindergarten, a child needs to be able to feed themselves in an appropriate way. They also need to be able to open their food on their own. It's a lot for one teacher to have to run around and help each child with their lunch. Send snacks that your child can open themselves, and practice it at home so your child is comfortable opening things like applesauce, ketchup packets, and bagged snacks. There are also options for what your child eats for lunch. You can either have them bring a lunch from home or eat school lunch. If you need financial assistance in providing lunch for your child each day, Gwinnett County Public Schools has a free or reduced lunch program. Just go to their website and fill out the application by the deadline the school sets each year. The last area for basic skills is dressing. Make sure your child is comfortable with buttons, zippers, and snaps, and dress them in clothes that they will be able to manage taking off and putting back on after using the restroom. It's also important to teach your child how to tie their shoes. If they are having a hard time learning this, which is very common, I myself didn't master this skill until 2nd grade. Send them in shoes that do not have laces that have to be tied. When buying your child's clothing for school, make sure you check the school's dress code to be certain that what you buy follows the code. Also, as fun as it is to dress the kids up in really cute clothes, also take comfort into consideration. Make sure your child is comfortable enough to play freely. For the rest of the presentation, we are going to focus on different subjects in school and skills that will help your child be successful in them. The first of these is language arts. Some skills for this area include being able to speak coherently. This means that the teacher and other adults can understand the words your child is saying. It also includes speaking in full sentences and being able to communicate what they need. The others are being able to recognize and name at least some of the letters and being able to write their name. Writing their name is important since that is needed when they turn in work to the teacher. Some tips for learning these skills are to read with your child. This is such an important thing to do, and it's not just because I work at the library. Allowing your child to choose the books you read will help get them interested, and pointing at each word as you read will help them with print awareness. This helps get them ready to learn how to read themselves. Another way to help is to have rich conversations with your child. A rich conversation doesn't include commands or directions, but instead encourages open-ended questions and wordplay. For example, instead of asking your child, "Did you like their dinner?" ask them, "What was your favorite thing you ate at dinner?" This means that instead of simply answering yes or no, they will have to think about what they liked and communicate that verbally. The next subject is math. Some skills in this area include recognizing some shapes and numbers, counting to 10, and being able to sort items by different classifications. For example, being able to sort a group of colored shapes first by shape, then by color. Some tips for learning these skills are to sing songs and play games that involve these skills, such as singing Five Little Ducks, which is a song that helps count backward from 5. The library has a digital resource called Tumblebooks that is a great resource for songs, and I also like to use YouTube to find new songs to sing. Some examples of games that help with math skills are puzzles and Go Fetch, which involves matching and recognizing numbers. Looking at a calendar and counting the days in the month up to the date you are on is also helpful. Most kindergarten teachers will have a time in the morning where they will do things like looking at the calendar to see what date it is. The last tip is to point out numbers in your everyday environment. Measurements in a recipe, prices in a store, or even highway route numbers or addresses are all common things that you will encounter regularly. Science is the next subject. Science in kindergarten is mostly about making observations about the world around you. So some skills for this subject are comparing day and night, as well as seasons, and recording these observations through drawing or describing. A tip for learning these skills is to simply encourage your children to observe by asking them questions and allowing them to ask you questions about their environment. Take walks together, something that's a great thing to do during this time anyway, and talk about what you see and the weather. The last subject I will discuss here is social studies. Some skills in this area are following rules and engaging in appropriate social behavior, manners, and being able to describe differences and similarities between themselves and others, and understanding different occupations. Some ways to help your child learn these skills are to model behavior that is how you want them to act. What you say and do is what they will see and follow, so keep that in mind. When you are reading together, make sure nonfiction books about other cultures and different occupations are included. Some people think that their child won't be interested in nonfiction, but I've met many children who actually prefer that genre over fiction and love to read and learn about real things in our world. The last tip I have for social studies is to find ways to serve the community together. Whether it's through a church, government, or nonprofit organization, finding ways to serve as a family will help your child see people who are different than they are and help them develop an empathetic perspective. The last thing I want to talk to you about is setting expectations with your child before they start kindergarten. This includes both what your expectations are for them and their behavior are, and what they should expect when they go to school for the first time. Some expectations for behavior may include following classroom rules, listening without interrupting, and keeping their hands to themselves. However, every child is different, and you know them better than anyone. Think honestly about what behavioral difficulties your child specifically may encounter when entering kindergarten, and talk about them honestly with your child. Some kids may be scared or nervous or anxious when they think about entering kindergarten. Even if they are just excited, books can be a great way to introduce some basic things to expect, although every school system and teacher is a little different. Here are some examples of books we have available at the library for you to check out and read with your child. Kindergarten, Here I Come. Is Your Buffalo Ready for Kindergarten? The Kindergartner's Handbook. This one is more for preparing them in the different areas we have previously discussed during this program. The Kissing Hand, Lena's Shoes Are Nervous, and Kindergarten Rocks. The library has several digital resources that can be helpful and fun for your child. Some of these are Overdrive, Sesame Street ebooks, and Tumble Books. We also have a list of early literacy apps on our website. These are useful resources to use if you don't have time to get to the library but would still like to have fun reading new books and practicing early literacy skills with your child. Here are the resources I used to help put this presentation together, so feel free to check them out for some expanded information on this topic. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining me for this program, and I know that your child will have a great experience in kindergarten. Remember, it's your effort and the fact that you're trying that matters most when it comes to supporting your child's development. Thank you.